On this episode of Project HemiMag, we're going to continue to uncover the front of the engine in the hopes of someday getting that cam out of there. Welcome back to the Auto Obsessive Garage. Chadwick with you again for another installment of Project HemiMag. We're rocking some pandemic hair. We're dirty, we're messy, but this is how we want to be. We're in the garage, and any time you can have in the garage is good time. So, back to the matter at hand. A direct continuation from the last episode, we are going to continue to uncover the front of the engine, make enough space for us to work, because we do have to have space to pull that big old cam out of there and put the new one in. So let's take care of that today. And just so you know, there is a lot of work that goes into this. You really need to make some space. I'm going to show you some tips on how I move things around, how I organize everything with the least amount of removal of things that are unnecessary and make it as straightforward as possible. So tune in for that. Let's get in the garage and get some work done. As you can see, the water pump's pretty large on this vehicle, so this is the whole unit we're replacing. We have to get behind it anyway to do the cam, so what a perfect time. How lucky are we that our water pump was leaking anyway? Yeah, right. Okay, lots of bolts. So I'm actually going to use the new one as a reference to make sure I don't miss any. Pull the old belt out that we've already undone. We'll figure out how to route that back again. It's pretty crazy. We'll figure it. Look how long that thing is. Our tensioner's already loosened up. We can actually remove that. We'll use keeping that on there. It's all gonna come off anyway. Now we're definitely gonna need a lot of space to get that cam in here, so we are looking at, like I said earlier, just dropping all this stuff down, which is gonna be a pain in the butt. Times like that I wish I actually had a lift, but it is what it is. We make do with what we got. Cool. Well, there's our belt tensioner. And then we have an idler pulley, it looks like. Needs to come off as well. I'm going to put a new O-ring on this. It looks like the O-ring failed and someone used silicone caulk to make that kind of plug the water that could have came out of that tube, but that's not a way to fix this stuff. Alright, it's just really hard to get a lot of this on camera because it's so far down. Like I'm working down in that behind there. That was way harder than it needed to be. Alright, well, we've got everything disconnected at this point. Let's go ahead and undo these bolts. I believe they're 13 millimeter, if I'm right. Yep, 13s. Nope, this is a bolt right here. That's different from all the rest, and I believe it's a 15 millimeter if I'm correct. Let's see if that's enough. Well, that was easy. Alright, here we go. Water pump out. Oh yeah, that's gotta be the original. Where's that bolt? Okay, here's the water pump out of the car. As you can see, there's the shiny new one, looking great. So a pretty common thing, don't be shocked if this happens to you, is as you can see, the idler pulley is still right there. And if you really look, see that nice stripped out bolt in the middle. I do not know why Dodge elected to go with anything but a normal bolt for that. It's pretty common, these get stripped out. There is a revised idler, a whole new idler, and a normal bolt that goes with it. Now if you upgrade to the newer version of the idler pulley, you need to get the bolt to go with it. I guess they don't work, they're not interchangeable, so just something to be reminded of. You have to kind of do some forum diving to find which one matches what's the correct idler. So do that research. And that's our thermostat, pretty new. We put that in a few weeks ago, so we'll be putting that back on the car too, on the new water pump. And this is the part where I wish I didn't have to do a cam, and I'm sure you do too if you're following this at home because you need to do this job. All of this needs to be removed in the front of the car here. There is no way you're sliding a cam out. Obviously I have to remove the timing chain cover, all that comes off. That'll give us a little more real estate, but for the most part it is too tight to pull the cam out. I'm gonna try not to remove the front clip of the car, but who knows how that's gonna go. So we're probably just gonna end up pulling the radiator, dropping the radiator fan, dropping the radiator. I don't wanna disconnect the AC and have to refill that and recharge it and everything. So what I wanna do is kind of keep the AC system all hooked up, maybe move some things out of the way. Obviously to remove the timing chain cover, you need to remove things like your alternator. Down there you also have AC compressor, so you gotta remove that. I'm not gonna unhook any lines, we're just gonna unbolt it and kind of move them away. And we should be able to pull the cover off that way. I've seen that done before. So that's gonna be fun. Yeah, there's not really a lot of room to work. Oh boy, a lot of work. But yeah, to pull that cam out, it's coming from this area and it's gonna come straight out. Now this is definitely not a benefit of a push rod engine versus an overhead cam engine where we'd have easy access to the cam. So let's go ahead. Step one is gonna be a pain in the butt, but dropping everything down the bottom of the car. Hopefully that will work if I can just drop one side. All right, let me show you how I'm working this. As you can see down below the bumper here, you can see the radiator. Actually, a condenser in the front there. And yeah, that gives us enough room to probably pull that cam out for sure. But you know, we could use some more space because we're gonna have to pull that harmonic balancer off and all that good stuff. So what we can do, and what I noticed that wasn't clear until I got everything off, and let me get a clear shot if I can even line it up and show you here. I'm gonna show you from the bottom of the car and make it a little more clear. So here we are. You can see the condenser is held on by these bolts. Not gonna guess the size, I'm assuming 10 or 12 millimeter. There's two on each side. You can see another one right down here. So I'm gonna undo those. There's two on each side, and that should allow me to separate the radiator from the condenser. We'll just leave the condenser and this other cooler just hanging right here. They're not taking up too much real estate. So we'll undo that, and then we can just pull the radiator through the top and have as much room as we really need to do the work we need to do on this job. So let's go ahead and all right, let's check out the situation under the hood of the Hemi now. We've got a lot more room. You can see right out the grill there. You can see the condenser just kind of hanging out. Not bad, not bad. But I want to show you the space we've got to work in. So we certainly should have enough distance now to pull up that cam. Obviously, timing cover's coming off. So that'll give us quite a bit more real estate when this pops off. The cam obviously right back here. And we'll be able to pull that straight out. There's nothing in the way now. If you want to look down what I did, you can see the condenser kind of hanging diagonally. I didn't have to disconnect any of the AC lines, which is clutch, so we don't have to redo the system. And we got plenty of room. Like, I can get down to the crank bolt just fine, reach right down in there, and plenty of room to work there. If I need to go under the car, for whatever reason, I might need to do that. There's our condenser just hanging down, but we can get behind it still and get up to all the goodies right there. So it's actually pretty easy to work around and definitely worth it for not having to redo the AC system. Okay, time to loosen the bolts on these accessories. We got the alternator over here. We got our AC compressor over here. It's appear to be 15 millimeter. Again, we're just going to unbolt enough to slide away from the timing cover. Let's go ahead and take care of that. Take one bolt out. Okay, we're underneath the Magnum now, and this is the alternator clearly. And these are the two bolts. One is attached to a bracket that goes to the rear, and then the other one just holds it to the timing cover. Now, you can't just undo the front one because you need to pull the whole unit away. So just so you know, there's two bolts. Two 15 millimeter bolts holding the alternator onto the timing cover. So go ahead and pull both those bolts out, and you should be able to slide the alternator away so you can remove that timing cover. Okay, we got the alternator removed obviously from the timing cover here. Just got it hanging. I don't like hanging anything from wiring. That's never a good idea. So go ahead, use a bungee cord, secure it to wherever you can grab, somewhere like a nice hook right there. And now the weight of the alternator is on the bungee cord, so pretty sweet. All right, we are now under our AC compressor. So like I said before, we're not disconnecting any lines. Under here we do have two more bolts. So there are a total of 4 bolts to remove if you want to slide the AC compressor out of the way. We got one here, one up here, and then the 2 you can easily see from the front. If you look behind here, let me adjust my light just a little bit. No, that's not rust, that's the Hemi orange paint. So definitely gonna get that paint and do the top of the engine and touch up some of these spots. It just looks so cool. Definitely a unique feature of this 6.1 liter Hemi engine. So let's go ahead and bring that back. We'll obviously do that after we do all the mechanical work. Save the fun stuff for the end, right? With all 4 bolts removed, we're able to slide the AC compressor away from the engine and away from the timing chain cover. So as you can see, we've got plenty of room to work around it. It's definitely separated, so it'll make it easier for when we pull that timing cover off. Again, just use the bungee cord, secured it to the chassis of the vehicle. That way it won't be hanging from any of its lines and causing any possible damage to the unit. Sweet. All that's left is to remove that harmonic balancer pulley, pull that, then find all the bolts around the entire timing cover, and we should be ready to rock and roll. Pull that off and get to work getting that cam out. This is quite a process, guys, and I'm trying to document as much as I can because there really aren't too many super detailed instructions on this. It kind of shows it kind of piecemeal, like you'll get to a how-to video and already have the timing cover off and you're like, how do we do that? So this is how you do it. It's almost identical to the 5.7 in case you were wondering. So same kind of logic. Next step. So I had to use my electric impact, got the crank bolt off just fine. Like I said, 21 millimeter gets the job done. We've got our harmonic balance pulley remover on there, and it's a little bit of a pain in the butt. These are a little trickier than the ones where you get to actually screw them in. So you kind of have to manipulate. There are 3 arms. So you can see the arms back there barely sticking out on either side, there and there. There's 3 arms. You have to align with the notches on your harmonic balance pulley and get a good lock, or when you actually tighten down this bolt, it's going to pull the actual pulley off, or that's the thought. Let me show you under the car what it looks like. And there you go, you can see it up there on the actual pulley. So we're going to go ahead, tighten that bolt off, and if we're locked in, if we're in our notches on the actual pulley itself, it should actually pull the pulley free. All right, let's see if this works. Harmonic balancer is off the car. The tool worked great. See, as you can see, the tool is still somewhat attached. So if you've never pulled one of these harmonic pulleys off, they do go onto the crank quite a bit. There's quite a bit of distance here past the front main seal, so you do have to pull it quite a distance. That's why we really needed to have that clearance in the front. With the radiator removed, we had plenty of room to fit the tool in with the socket and the ratchet and be able to move in there to get enough space to separate that. So we're good to go. Look at that. Next thing we have to do though is this wonderful timing chain cover. So, and then we'll see what we're working with, and we're one step closer to pulling that cam out.